Admiral Jake Morrison stood at the window of Kepler Station and watched the stars. He was 52 years old and had gray hair at his temples. His uniform was clean and pressed. Today was important. The alien delegates were coming to talk. The Kir station was busy. People walked quickly through the halls. Ships came and went from the docking bays. Jake had been here many times before. This time felt different. Captain Lisa Stone walked up behind him. She was 38 and had short brown hair. Her face was serious. "Admiral, they are here," she said. Jake turned around. "How many ships?" 20 warships. They are big ones too." Jake nodded. The Zephyrian hegemony always liked to show their power. Their ships were dark and covered with weapons. They looked mean and scary. "Where is Dr. Clark?" Jake asked. "She is in the meeting room. She is still hoping we can talk this out." Jake smiled, but it was not a happy smile. Dr. Amanda Clark was a good person. She was 35 and very smart. She studied aliens and believed in peace. Jake wished he could believe like her. The meeting room was large. It had a big table in the middle. Human delegates sat on one side. The other side was empty and waiting. Dr. Clark was reading her notes. She looked up when Jake came in. "Admiral, I think we can still solve this peacefully." "I hope you are right, Doctor." Commander Ryan Brooks came into the room. He was 41 and had been a soldier before. Now he worked in intelligence. His job was to know things about enemies. "They are coming now," Ryan said. "War Prime Zekthara is with them." Jake felt his stomach get tight. Zekthara was the leader of the hegemony military. He was known for being cruel. He liked to fight and win. The doors opened. The hegemony delegates walked in. They were tall and had gray skin. Their eyes were yellow. They wore dark armor that made noise when they walked. War Prime Zekthara was the biggest. He had scars on his face and hands. He looked at the humans like they were insects. Behind him was Ambassador Velnoth. He was smaller, but his eyes were cold. He carried a datapad in his clawed hands. The alien sat down. The room was quiet for a moment. Ambassador Velnoth spoke first. His voice was deep and rough. "Humans of Earth and the colonies, we come with an offer." Dr. Clark leaned forward. "We are happy to listen." Velnoth looked at her and made a sound like laughing. "You are the weak ones who think words can stop armies. Words have stopped many wars," Dr. Clark said. War Prime Zekthara spoke. His voice was like rocks grinding together. "Your words are nothing. We have come to tell you what will happen." Jake felt his hands make fists under the table. "What do you want?" 12 of your colonies, the good ones with water and food. You have 30 days to leave them." The room was very quiet. Jake could hear people breathing. "Those colonies have millions of people," Dr. Clark said. "Families, children. Not our problem," Zekthara said. "You are weak. You do not deserve good worlds." Jake stood up slowly. "And if we say no?" Zekthara showed his teeth. They were sharp and yellow. "Then we take them anyway, and we kill everyone who stays." "The Galactic Council will not allow this," Dr. Clark said. Velnoth made that laughing sound again. "The Council thinks this is between us and you. They will not help weak humans." Jake looked at Ryan. Ryan's face did not change, but Jake saw something in his eyes. Ryan knew things that others did not. "Why those colonies?" Jake asked. "They have good soil, good water, good places for our people to live." Zekthara leaned back in his chair. "Your people are soft. You sell things and make deals. You are not warriors." "We prefer peace," Dr. Clark said. "You prefer peace because you are afraid to fight," Zekthara said. "We have watched you for many years. You run from fights. You make deals when others would fight." Jake felt something cold in his chest. "You have been watching us?" "Of course. We know everything about weak humans. You have no real weapons. Your ships carry goods, not guns. Your soldiers play at being warriors." Captain Lisa Stone had been quiet. Now she spoke. "What if our answer is no? Zekathara looked at her. Then in 31 days we start taking the colonies. We will kill everyone who fights back. We will make the others into slaves. Even the children? Dr. Clark asked. Children grow up to be enemies, Velnoth said. Better to stop the problem early. Jake sat down. He put his hands flat on the table. I see. Good. You understand? Zekathara stood up. 30 days. No more talk, no more deals. Give us the colonies or we take them. The hegemony delegates walked out. Their armor made noise on the floor. The doors closed behind them. The room was quiet for a long time. Dr. Clark spoke first. We have to try to talk to the Galactic Council again. They already said no, Ryan said. But this is genocide they are planning. Jake stood up and walked to the window. He could see the hegemony ships. They were dark against the stars. Admiral, Dr. Clark said. What are you thinking? Jake did not turn around. I am thinking about choices, Doctor. What do you mean? We chose to be peaceful. We chose to be traitors and diplomats. We chose to avoid war. Yes, and that was the right choice. Jake turned around. His eyes were different now, harder. But what happens when the choice is taken away? Captain Lisa Stone understood first. Admiral, are you talking about Protocol Omega? Dr. Clark looked confused. What is Protocol Omega? Jake walked back to the table. Doctor, do you remember when humans first went to space? Yes. We were explorers and scientists. Before that. Do you remember what humans were on Earth? Dr. Clark thought. We were many things, farmers, builders, artists. Warriors, Jake said. We were warriors, Doctor. For thousands of years, we fought each other until we learned to fight together. That was the old days. We are different now. Jake sat down. Are we? Ryan opened his data pad. Admiral, I have the reports you wanted. What? Reports? Dr. Clark asked. 3 days ago, a hegemony patrol destroyed a human medical ship. The ship was carrying supplies to a refugee camp. 400 people died. Dr. Clark put her hand over her mouth. I did not know. It was not in the news, Jake said. We did not want to cause panic. But 400 people were murdered, Jake said. While they were helping sick children, Captain Lisa Stone spoke. Admiral, the colony fleets are asking for orders. Jake was quiet for a moment. Then he spoke very slowly. Tell the colonies to start evacuation procedures. All non-essential people should leave. All of them? Dr. Clark asked. Yes. But tell them something else too. What? Jake looked out the window at the hegemony ships. Tell them to be ready for anything. After the others left, Jake sat alone in the meeting room. He opened a secure channel on his communicator. This is Admiral Morrison. Authorization code Black 77, a voice answered. Code confirmed. How can we help you, Admiral? I need the Ragnarok files. Sir, those files are classified at the highest level. I know what they are. I helped write them. There was a pause. Sending files now, sir. Jake's datapad lit up with information. Plans and numbers and maps. Things that had been secret for many years. He read for a long time. Then he made another call. Captain Stone? Yes, Admiral? How long would it take to convert the merchant fleet? Lisa was quiet for a moment. If we use the hidden protocols, 48 hours. Do it. Sir, are you sure? Jake looked at the hegemony ships one more time. They thought humans were weak. They thought humans were afraid to fight. Captain, send a message to all human colonies and ships. What message? Tell them the hegemony wants war. Jake's voice was very quiet. Tell them we are going to deliver war. Captain Lisa Stone stood on the bridge of her ship. 2 days ago it was called the Cargo Hauler Freedom. Now the name had changed. The ship was called UES Liberty. The letters UES meant United Earth Ship. Lisa looked around the bridge. Everything was different. Walls had opened up to show weapon controls. The old cargo screens now showed battle information. Her crew wore military uniforms instead of merchant clothes. Captain, all systems are ready, said her first officer. His name was Pete Johnson. He used to load cargo boxes. Now he was a weapons officer. How long did the change take? Lisa asked. 46 hours and 20 minutes, just like the plan said. Lisa smiled. The plans had been secret for 20 years. Every human merchant ship had hidden parts. Parts that could turn a cargo hauler into a warship. Her communicator buzzed. Captain Stone, this is Admiral Morrison. Yes, Admiral. How does your ship feel? Lisa looked at her weapon displays. The Liberty had enough firepower to destroy a small moon. She feels angry, sir. Good. Are the other ships ready? Lisa checked her screens. All around her, other merchant ships were changing too. The cargo ship New York was now the battleship Yorktown. The transport Miami was now the heavy cruiser Constitution. All ships report ready, Admiral. Excellent. How are the pilots? Lisa looked at another screen. It showed fighter bays that used to be storage areas. Major Sullivan says her people are excited. Major Kate Sullivan was 33 and had been flying fighters for 15 years. But for the last 5 years, she had pretended to be a cargo pilot. It was part of the plan. Admiral Morrison's voice was calm. Captain, we are about to show the galaxy who humans really are. Sir, what about the people who don't know? Jake thought about Dr. Amanda Clark. She was still trying to call the Galactic Council. She still believed in peace talks. They will understand soon, Jake said. Are you ready for Phase 2? Yes, sir. Commander Brooks has his people in position. Commander Ryan Brooks was not on any ship. He was in a small room deep inside Kepler Station. The room was hidden behind fake walls. Very few people knew it existed. Ryan looked at his screens. They showed maps of hegemony space. Red dots marked enemy ships and bases. Green dots marked human agents. Control, this is Deep 6, a voice said through his headset. Deep 6, this is Control. Go ahead. I am inside the hegemony command ship. They are planning to attack the colonies in 3 days. Ryan smiled. Deep 6 was Agent Maria Lopez. She had been pretending to be a cleaning worker on hegemony ships for 2 years. Copy that, Deep 6. What about their fleet positions? Sending data now. Ryan's screens filled with information. The hegemony had 47 warships. They thought this was enough to destroy all human defenses. Deep 6, be ready to act when I give the signal. Ready, Control. Ryan switched to another channel. Sleeper 1, this is Control. Control, Sleeper 1 here. Sleeper 1 was Agent Tom Baker. He worked in a hegemony weapons factory. He had been there for 3 years. Sleeper 1, are you ready for sabotage protocols? Ready, Control. I have charges placed on all the main power systems. Stand by. Ryan had 43 agents inside hegemony space. They all had jobs in important places. Some worked in factories, some worked on ships, some worked in government buildings. The hegemony thought they were just alien workers. They never suspected they were human spies. Ryan called Admiral Morrison. Sir, all agents are in position. Good work, Commander. Are the colonies ready? Yes, sir, the evacuation is going well, but not everyone is leaving. Who is staying? About 50,000 people. They say they want to fight. Jake was quiet for a moment. Do they know what they are facing? Lieutenant Colonel Parker talked to them. He says they understand. Lieutenant Colonel Ben Parker was 44 and had been fighting for 20 years. He was in charge of all ground forces. He was now on the colony world of New Texas. Ben stood in front of a group of colonists. They were farmers and shop owners and teachers, but they all had weapons now. Listen to me, Ben said. The hegemony thinks we are weak. They think we will run away. An old farmer raised his hand. Colonel, we heard they have big armies. They do, but we have something they don't expect. What? Ben smiled. We know how to fight dirty. The colonists laughed. They knew Ben was right. Humans had been fighting for thousands of years. They knew every trick. What's the plan, Colonel? Asked a young woman. We let them land. We let them think they are winning. Then we show them what happens when you threaten human families. Back on Kepler Station, Dr. Amanda Clark was getting frustrated. She had been trying to call the Galactic Council for 2 days. No one would take her calls. She walked to Admiral Morrison's office. The door was open. Jake was looking at battle plans. "Admiral, the Council is not responding." Jake looked up. "I know." "What do you mean you know?" "Doctor, sit down." Amanda sat down. She looked worried. "Jake, what is happening? The merchant ships are gone. There are warships everywhere. Where did they come from?" Jake was quiet for a long time. Then he spoke. "Doctor, do you remember the first rule of war?" "I don't know rules of war. I study peace. The first rule is, never let your enemy know your real strength." Amanda looked confused. "I don't understand." Jake stood up and walked to his window. He could see dozens of human warships. They had appeared from nowhere in just 2 days. For 150 years, humans have been merchants and diplomats. We sold goods and made deals. We avoided fights. Yes, because we learned that peace is better than war. Jake turned around. "No, Doctor. Because we learned that the best way to win a war is to never fight it." "What do you mean?" "Every human merchant ship has hidden weapons. Every human cargo pilot is really a fighter pilot. Every human trade station is really a military base." Amanda's mouth opened. "That's impossible." Jake pressed a button on his desk. The wall screen turned on. It showed the cargo ship Golden Gate. As they watched, the ship began to change. Panels opened up. Weapons came out. In 10 minutes, it was a battle cruiser. "We have been preparing for this day for 150 years, Jake said. "But why? We had peace. We had peace because we were ready for war. The hegemony attacks weak races. We made sure they thought we were weak." Amanda stood up. She looked angry. "You lied to everyone. You lied to me. We protected everyone, including you. By pretending to be something we're not?" Jake walked to his desk. He picked up a file marked Top Secret. "Doctor, humans are not naturally peaceful. We are naturally protective. We will do anything to protect our families and our homes. But the killing will be done by people who chose to make it necessary." Jake's voice was hard. "We offered them peace. They chose war." Amanda was quiet for a moment. "What happens now?" "Now we show them what humans do when you threaten our children." Jake's communicator buzzed. "Admiral, this is Captain Stone." "Go ahead, Captain." "Hegemony scouts are approaching the outer colonies. They look surprised." Jake smiled. "I bet they do. How many ships do we have ready?" 237 warships, all converted from merchant vessels. "And fighter squadrons?" "Major Sullivan reports 800 fighters ready for combat." Jake looked at Dr. Clark. "Doctor, the hegemony has 47 ships. They thought that was enough to conquer us." "How many do we have?" "More than enough." Jake opened his communicator to all ships. "All vessels, this is Admiral Morrison. You know why we are here. The hegemony thinks humans are weak. They think we are afraid to fight. They are about to learn the truth." He paused. "For 150 years we chose peace. We chose to be merchants and diplomats. We chose to avoid war. But choice is a luxury that requires strength. Today, they took away our choice." Jake looked out at his fleet. Ships that had been hiding as cargo haulers were now revealed as destroyers and cruisers and battleships. The hegemony wanted to see what humans become when pushed to war. Today, we show them. All ships, prepare for combat operations. 237 ships began to move toward the colonies. In the fighter bays, 800 pilots climbed into fighters that had been disguised as cargo shuttles. On the hegemony, command ship War Prime Zekthara looked at his screens. Where there had been empty space before, there were now hundreds of human warships. "Where did they come from?" he asked. His aide was shaking. "Unknown, War Prime. They appeared from nowhere." Zekthara felt something he had never felt before: fear. "Send a message to the fleet. Tell them to be ready for anything." But it was too late. The humans were no longer hiding, and they were very, very angry. The Battle of Kepler Prime began at 800 hours. War Prime Zekthara led his 47 ships toward the human colonies. He expected to find scared farmers and weak defenses. Instead, he found a nightmare. Captain Lisa Stone watched the enemy ships on her screens. The hegemony fleet was big and dark. Their ships looked like giant insects made of metal. "Captain, enemy fleet is in weapons range," said Pete Johnson. "Not yet," Lisa said. "Let them get closer." "But Captain, they could shoot first." Lisa smiled. "No, they can't." She was right. Commander Ryan Brooks had done his job well. On every hegemony ship, human agents were working. They had damaged weapons systems and communication arrays. The enemy ships could barely talk to each other. On the hegemony command ship, Zekthara was getting angry. "Why are our weapons not working?" "Unknown, War Prime," his aide said. "The targeting systems keep failing." "Fix them." But Agent Maria Lopez was already fixing them. She was making sure they would point in the wrong direction. Admiral Jake Morrison sat in his command center on Kepler Station. He could see everything on his screens. The hegemony ships were moving into his trap. "Admiral, all ships are in position," Captain Stone reported. "Fighter squadrons ready," Major Kate Sullivan added. Jake nodded. "Begin the attack. Show them what humans do when they stop being nice." The space around Kepler Prime exploded into light. But it was not what Zekthara expected. The human ships did not line up and fight like normal fleets. Instead, they moved in small groups. 3 or 4 ships would attack one enemy ship from different directions. Then they would run away before the enemy could fight back. "What are they doing?" Zekthara demanded. His aide looked confused. "They are fighting like animals hunting." Zekthara was right. Humans were pack hunters. On Earth, they had learned to hunt animals much bigger than themselves. They would attack in groups, hit hard, and run away. Then they would attack again from somewhere else. Captain Lisa Stone led her group against a hegemony heavy cruiser. The enemy ship was 3 times bigger than any human ship. "Liberty, Constitution, and Yorktown attack pattern Delta," Lisa ordered. The 3 human ships came at the hegemony cruiser from 3 sides. They fired all their weapons at once. The enemy ship's shields flashed and failed. "Now get out of there," Lisa ordered. The human ships flew away as fast as they could. The hegemony cruiser tried to follow, but it was too slow and damaged. 2 minutes later, another group of human ships hit the same cruiser from behind. Then another group hit it from the left side. In 10 minutes, the hegemony cruiser was destroyed. The human ships had not lost anyone. "This is impossible," Zekthara shouted. "Our ships are bigger and stronger." But being bigger did not help when the enemy would not stand still and fight. Major Kate Sullivan led her fighter squadrons into battle. She had been pretending to fly cargo shuttles for 5 years. Now she was flying the fastest fighter in human space. "Dragon Squadron, follow me," she called on the radio. "Let's show these aliens how humans fly." Human fighters were small and fast. Hegemony fighters were big and powerful. But the aliens had never fought anyone who could think in 3 dimensions like humans. On most worlds, creatures lived on flat ground. They thought in terms of left and right, forward and back. Humans had climbed trees and mountains. They thought in terms of up and down too. Kate led her fighters in a spinning attack that came from above and below at the same time. The hegemony pilots did not know how to respond. "What are they doing?" one alien pilot screamed over the radio. His question was answered by human weapons fire. His ship exploded. Lieutenant Colonel Ben Parker was on the surface of New Texas Colony. The hegemony had sent troops to capture the farms and cities. They expected to find helpless civilians. Instead, they found soldiers who had been waiting for them. "Remember," Ben told his people, "we know this ground. They don't. Use that." The hegemony troops landed in big, obvious ships. They marched in straight lines toward the human settlements. They made lots of noise and acted like they owned the place. The humans were hiding in the forests and hills around their towns. They had been preparing for weeks. When the aliens got close, the humans attacked from everywhere at once. They used the trees and rocks for cover. They appeared, shot, and disappeared again. "Where are they?" A hegemony soldier screamed. The answer came from a sniper's bullet. Sergeant Tony Martinez had been a hunter before he became a soldier. Now he was hunting aliens. Tony could hide so well that he was invisible even when you were looking right at him. He would shoot one enemy soldier, then move to a new position before anyone could find him. Got another one, Tony whispered into his radio. Good job, Ben replied. Keep them scared. The hegemony ground forces were used to fighting enemies who stood in lines and shot at each other. They did not know how to fight enemies who hid and used tricks. In space, the battle was going very badly for Zekathara. He had lost 23 ships. The humans had lost only 2. War Prime, we must retreat, his aide said. No, we are the hegemony. We do not run from weak humans. But the humans were not weak. They were smart and angry, and very, very good at fighting. Commander Ryan Brooks gave the signal to his agents. All sleepers, activate sabotage protocols now. On every hegemony ship, human agents began their work. They set off explosions in engine rooms. They shut down life support systems. They opened airlocks and damaged computers. The hegemony command ship suddenly lost power. Emergency lights came on, alarms were screaming. What is happening? Zekathara demanded. Agent Maria Lopez appeared from behind a control panel. She was holding a weapon and smiling. Hello, War Prime, she said in perfect hegemony language. I'm human. Zekathara stared at her. Impossible. You have worked on my ships for years. 2 years, 3 months, and 16 days, Maria said. I've been watching and learning and waiting. You are just one person. No, I'm not. All over the ship, other alien workers appeared. They were all humans. They had been hiding among the hegemony for years. Surrender your ship, Maria said. Zekathara looked around. His own crew was looking at him with fear. Half of his loyal workers were pointing human weapons at him. In space, Captain Lisa Stone saw the hegemony command ship's lights go out. Admiral Morrison, the enemy flagship is dead in space. Copy that. All ships continue the attack. No mercy for those who threaten human families. The battle lasted 6 more hours. When it was over, 35 hegemony ships were destroyed or captured. Only 12 managed to escape. The humans had lost 4 ships and 53 fighters. It was the most one-sided victory in galactic history. Admiral Jake Morrison opened a communication channel to all surviving hegemony ships. This is Admiral Morrison of the human fleet. You came here looking for weak merchants and scared farmers. Instead, you found warriors. War Prime Zekathara was now a prisoner on his own ship. He listened to the human admiral's words. You said humans were too weak to deserve good worlds. You said we would run away from a real fight. You were wrong. Jake's voice was calm but cold. We chose peace because we are good at war. We chose diplomacy because we excel at violence. You mistook our mercy for weakness. The admiral paused. Go back to your masters. Tell them what you learned here today. Tell them that humans offered peace and you chose war. Tell them we delivered exactly what you asked for. Dr. Amanda Clark watched the battle reports. She felt sick about the violence, but she also felt something else. Pride. Admiral, she said. What happens now? Jake looked tired. Now they know who we really are. The galaxy will never look at humans the same way again. Is that good or bad? That depends on them. We still prefer peace, Doctor. But now everyone knows the price of taking that choice away from us. On the planet New Texas, Lieutenant Colonel Ben Parker counted his casualties. He had lost 11 people. The hegemony had lost over 2,000. Colonel, Sergeant Tony Martinez said, the aliens who got away are sending messages home. What kind of messages? They're warning their people about us. They're saying humans are the most dangerous warriors they ever fought. Ben smiled. Good. Maybe the next ones will think twice before they threaten our families. In deep space, the 12 surviving hegemony ships fled toward home. They carried a message that would change everything. Humans were not weak merchants, they were not scared farmers. They were warriors who had been pretending to be peaceful, and they were very, very good at war. The news of the defeat at Kepler Prime reached the hegemony homeworlds in 3 days. The 12 surviving ships carried a message that terrified their leaders. Humans were not weak. They were pretending. High Commander Vorthok read the battle. Reports in his war room. He was the supreme leader of all hegemony forces. He had conquered 47 star systems. He had never lost a battle. This cannot be true, he said to his aide. Humans are merchants, they sell things and avoid fights. The survivors all tell the same story, High Commander. The humans had hundreds of warships. They fought like nothing we have ever seen. Vorthok threw the report across the room. 1. Defeat does not matter. We still have over 3,000 ships. We will crush these humans, but he was wrong. The humans were just getting started. Admiral Jake Morrison stood in his command center. The victory at Kepler Prime was only the beginning. Now he had to make a choice that would change everything. Doctor, Amanda Clark was with him. She looked worried. Jake, the Galactic Council is calling for peace talks. Are they? Jake did not look away from his screens. Yes. They say both sides should stop fighting now. Jake turned around. Doctor, 3 days ago the hegemony attacked a human hospital ship. They killed everyone on board, including the children. Amanda's face went white. What? Commander Ryan Brooks entered the room. He was carrying a data pad with pictures on it. The pictures showed the destroyed hospital ship New Hope. The ship was carrying medical supplies to refugees, Ryan said. 500 people were on board. Doctors, nurses, and sick children. The hegemony destroyed it with all weapons. Amanda sat down hard. She looked at the pictures and started to cry. They killed children, she whispered. Jake's voice was very quiet. They killed children because they thought it would make us afraid. They thought we would give up if they hurt the innocent people. What are you going to do? Jake looked at his screens again. They showed human fleets moving toward hegemony space. I am going to show them what humans do to people who kill our children. He opened a communication channel to all human ships and colonies. This is Admiral Morrison. The hegemony has crossed a line that should never be crossed. They have murdered innocent children. There will be no more peace talks, there will be no more mercy. Jake paused. His voice became harder. I am authorizing total war protocols. Remove all limits on military action. Show them what humans become when you threaten our families. Captain Lisa Stone received the order on her ship. She looked at her crew. They all looked angry. You heard the Admiral, she said. No more playing nice. All ships target every hegemony military base in this sector. The human fleet began moving faster. They were no longer just defending colonies. Now they were hunting. Major Kate Sullivan led her fighter squadrons deep into hegemony space. Her job was to destroy their shipyards and weapon factories. Dragon Squadron, we have a target, she said over the radio. Hegemony Shipyard Alpha 7. They build their heavy cruisers there. How many guards? Asked her wingman. Doesn't matter. We're going to destroy it all. The human fighters came out of hyperspace like angry hornets. The hegemony base had 30 defensive platforms and 200 fighters. It was not enough. Kate's pilots had been training for this their whole lives. They flew through the defensive fire like it was not even there. They hit the shipyard with precision strikes that destroyed everything important. Target destroyed, Kate reported. Moving to the next one. Lieutenant Colonel Ben Parker was leading ground forces on a hegemony colony world. The aliens had been using human prisoners as slave workers. Remember, Ben told his Marines, we're here to rescue our people, kill anyone who tries to stop us. Sergeant Tony Martinez led the assault team. They moved through the prison camp like ghosts. The hegemony guards never saw them coming. Sector clear, Tony whispered into his radio. The human prisoners could not believe their eyes. They had been slaves for months, now soldiers were freeing them. Who are you? One prisoner asked. We're the cavalry, Tony said with a smile. Time to go home. In space, Commander Ryan Brooks was running the biggest intelligence operation in human history. His agents were everywhere in hegemony space. Control, this is Ghost 7, a voice said through his headset. Go ahead, Ghost 7. I'm inside the Hegemony Fleet Command Center. They're planning to attack Earth directly. Ryan felt his blood go cold. When? 6 days. They're gathering their entire fleet, over 2,000 ships. Copy that. Stand. By for new orders. Ryan called Admiral Morrison immediately. Sir, we have a problem. What is it? The hegemony is planning to attack Earth. They think if they can threaten our homeworld, we'll surrender. Jake was quiet for a moment. How many ships? Over 2,000. Their entire remaining fleet. Jake smiled, but it was not a nice smile. Good. Sir? Commander, send new orders to all our agents. When the hegemony fleet leaves for Earth, they are to sabotage everything left behind. Destroy their factories, their bases, their supplies, leave them nothing to come back to. Yes, sir. Jake opened another channel. Captain Stone, how many ships do we have ready? 400 warships. Admiral, plus 800 fighters. Not enough to fight 2,000 ships in open battle. No, sir, but we won't be fighting them in open battle. Jake understood. You have a plan? Yes, sir. We let them come to Earth. Then we show them what happens when you threaten a human's home. Dr. Amanda Clark had been quiet for hours. She was thinking about the dead children on the hospital ship. Finally, she spoke. Admiral, I want to help. Jake looked surprised. Doctor, you're a scientist, not a soldier. I'm a scientist who studies alien biology. I can make weapons that will work only on them. Doctor, that's biological warfare. It's against every treaty. Amanda's eyes were hard. They killed children, Jake. Innocent children who were already sick and hurt. Jake was quiet for a long time. What do you need? Access to the captured hegemony prisoners. And a laboratory. Done. In her laboratory, Dr. Clark worked day and night. She studied hegemony blood and tissue samples. She learned how their bodies worked. Then she began designing something that would make them very sick, but would not hurt humans. She did not call it a weapon. She called it justice. Captain Lisa Stone received new orders. Her job was to lead a strike force to the hegemony homeworld, not to conquer it, to send a message. All ships, prepare for hyperspace jump, she ordered. Captain, there are millions of civilians on that world, her first officer said. We're not targeting civilians, Pete. We're targeting their government buildings and military bases. We want them to know that nowhere is safe. The human strike force jumped into hyperspace. When they came out, they were in orbit around the hegemony, capital world. The planet's defenses opened fire immediately, but the human ships were ready. They had studied hegemony tactics for years. All ships execute Plan Thunder, Lisa ordered. The human ships split up and attacked from 12 different directions at once. They destroyed the orbital defense platforms in 20 minutes. Then they began hitting targets on the planet's surface. Government buildings exploded. Military bases burned. Communication centers went dark. But they did not hit hospitals or schools or homes. Humans were angry, but they were not monsters. Message delivered. Lisa reported to Admiral Morrison. They know we can reach them anywhere. High Commander Vorthak watched his capital burn from his command bunker. He could not understand how this had happened. Sir, we're receiving a transmission from the human fleet, his aide said. Put it on screen. Captain Lisa Stone appeared on the screen. She looked calm and professional. High Commander Vorthak, my name is Captain Stone of the human fleet. We could have destroyed your entire world today. We chose not to. Vorthak said nothing. But if you attack Earth, if you harm one more human child, we will come back. And next time we will not be so merciful. The transmission ended. The human ships jumped back into hyperspace. Vorthak sat in his burning capital and realized something terrible. The humans were not just better fighters than he thought. They were better than him at everything, and they were coming for his fleet. The hegemony fleet appeared at the edge of Earth's solar system on a Tuesday morning. 2,047 warships came out of hyperspace in perfect formation. It was the largest invasion force in galactic history. High Commander Vorthak stood on the bridge of his flagship. He was betting everything on this attack. If he could threaten Earth, the humans would have to surrender. Begin the advance, he ordered. Show these humans what real power looks like. But as his fleet moved toward Earth, Vorthak began to see things that worried him. Where were the human ships? Where were their defenses? Earth looked almost empty. Admiral Jake Morrison sat in his command center deep under the surface of Earth. He watched the enemy fleet on his screens and smiled. "Admiral, they're taking the bait," Captain Lisa Stone reported from orbit. "Good. How many ships do we have hidden?" 800 warships stationed behind the moon, 400 more near Mars, 2,000 fighters ready to launch from the asteroid belt. Jake nodded. The hegemony thought Earth was poorly defended. They were about to learn that Earth was the most heavily defended world in the galaxy. "What about the orbital platforms?" Jake asked. "All ready, sir. They still look like space stations and cargo depots. For 150 years, humans had been building defenses around Earth, but they had disguised them as civilian structures. Space stations that looked like trading posts were actually weapon platforms. Cargo depots were really missile bases." Dr. Amanda Clark sat at her station. She had finished her biological weapon. It was loaded into special missiles that would only target hegemony ships. "Admiral, the bioweapon is ready," she said quietly. Jake looked at her. "Are you sure about this, Doctor?" "They killed children, Jake. Our children." Jake understood. Sometimes good people had to do terrible things to protect what they loved. "Major." Kate Sullivan was hiding with her fighter squadrons in the asteroid belt. She watched the enemy fleet getting closer to Earth. "Dragon Leader to all squadrons," she said over the radio. "Remember, we're not just fighting for Earth. We're fighting for every human child who will never have to be afraid because of what we do today." "Copy that, Dragon Leader," her pilots replied. Lieutenant Colonel Ben Parker was on the surface of Earth with his ground forces. If any enemy ships got through, they would try to land troops. "Marines, the enemy thinks we're scared. Farmers hiding on our homeworld," Ben said to his soldiers. "Let's show them what humans fight like when they're defending their own dirt." Sergeant Tony Martinez checked his sniper rifle. He was positioned on top of a mountain with a clear view of the landing zones. "Colonel, if they land, they won't like what they find." Commander Ryan Brooks was coordinating with his agents throughout the hegemony fleet. The enemy ships were full of human spies and they didn't even know it. "All agents prepare for final sabotage," Ryan said into his communicator. "When I give the signal, shut down everything you can." The hegemony fleet was now halfway to Earth. Vorthak was getting confident. He could see no major defenses. "Humans are cowards," he said to his aide. "They are hiding and hoping we will go away." But then something started to go wrong. Ships began reporting problems with their engines. Communication systems failed. Weapons would not respond properly. "What is happening?" Vorthak demanded. His aide looked scared. "Unknown, High Commander. Systems are failing all across the fleet." Agent Maria Lopez was still on Vorthak's ship. She had been waiting for this moment for years. Along with 43 other human agents, she began destroying everything she could reach. In the engine room, Agent Tom Baker set off explosives that crippled the ship's power systems. In the communications center, Agent Sarah Williams wiped out all the navigation computers. "Sir, we're receiving a transmission from Earth," Vorthak's aide said. Admiral Jake Morrison appeared on the screen. He looked calm and serious. "High Commander Vorthak, welcome to Earth's solar system. You made a mistake coming here. Human, surrender now and we will be merciful," Vorthak said. Jake smiled. "I don't think you understand the situation. See, this isn't your attack on our home, this is our trap for your fleet." "What do you mean?" "Computer, activate all defensive systems." Suddenly, space around Earth exploded with light. Hundreds of civilian structures revealed themselves as massive weapon platforms. Missile bases that had been hidden as cargo depots began firing. The moon itself opened up to reveal ship bays. 800 human warships poured out like angry bees from a hive. From behind, Mars came 400 more ships. From the asteroid belt came 2,000 fighters led by Major Kate Sullivan. "Surprise," Jake said to Vorthak. The largest space battle in galactic history began, but it was not really a battle, it was a slaughter. The hegemony ships were crippled by sabotage. Their weapons pointed in wrong directions. Their shields failed at critical moments. Their communications were dead. The human ships attacked in perfect coordination. They had been planning this defense for 150 years. Captain Lisa Stone led her battle group against the enemy flagship. All ships target the command vessel. Let's end this. The human ships swarmed around Vorthak's flagship like wolves around a wounded animal. The enemy ship's weapons could not track targets that moved so fast and worked together so well. Impossible! Vorthak screamed. We have the largest fleet in the galaxy. You had the largest fleet, Jake corrected him over the communication channel. Past tense. Dr. Amanda Clark gave the order to launch her biological weapons. Special missiles flew toward the enemy ships. When they exploded, they released a virus that made hegemony soldiers very sick but did not hurt humans. Within an hour, most of the enemy crews were too sick to fight. Major Kate Sullivan led her fighters through the enemy formation like a storm of death. Human pilots flew circles around the clumsy hegemony fighters. This is for every human child you threatened, she said as she destroyed another enemy ship. On the surface of Earth, Lieutenant Colonel Ben Parker watched a few enemy ships try to land troops. The aliens made it to the ground, but they did not last long. Sergeant Tony Martinez picked off enemy soldiers from 2 miles away. Welcome to Earth, he whispered each time he fired. The battle lasted 8 hours. When it was over, the hegemony fleet was completely destroyed. Only one ship was left intact, Vorthak's flagship. Admiral Jake Morrison opened a communication channel to all surviving hegemony personnel. This is Admiral Morrison. Your war is over. Your fleet is gone. Your soldiers are defeated. War Prime. Zekthara, who had been captured at Kepler Prime, stood next to Jake. He looked at Vorthak on the screen. High Commander, the humans have won. They are better warriors than we ever imagined. Vorthak looked around his ruined ship. Most of his crew was sick from the human virus. His engines were dead. His weapons were destroyed. How? He asked. Jake answered. Because we learned something you never did. The strongest warrior is the one who chooses not to fight until he has no other choice. But you're just merchants and farmers. No, Jake said. We're humans. We're whatever we need to be to protect our families. Dr. Amanda Clark stepped forward. High Commander, we will cure your sick soldiers. We will give medical aid to your wounded. But your war is over. Why would you help us? Because that's what humans do. We fight when we must. We show mercy when we can. Jake looked directly at Vorthak. Go home. Tell your people what you learned here. Tell them that humans offered peace and you chose war. Tell them we gave you exactly what you asked for. The surviving hegemony personnel were loaded onto medical ships and sent home. They carried a message that would change the galaxy forever. Humans were not weak merchants. They were the most dangerous warriors in space. But they were also merciful victors who cured their enemies and sent them home alive. 6 months later, the Galactic Council met to discuss new membership rules. The human representative was Dr. Amanda Clark. We propose a new law, she said to the assembled delegates. Any species that threatens civilians, especially children, will face the combined military might of all council members. The motion passed, unanimously. No one wanted to face angry humans again. Admiral Jake Morrison retired to a small farm on Earth, but he kept his communication device close, just in case someone else needed to learn what humans deliver when they crave war. Captain. Lisa Stone returned to commanding merchant ships, but her cargo haulers still had hidden weapons, and her crew still remembered how to use them. Major Kate Sullivan went back to flying cargo runs. Her pilots still looked like peaceful traders, but they were always ready to become warriors again. The galaxy learned an important lesson. Peace is not the absence of the ability to make war. Peace is the choice not to use that ability, and humans were very, very good at both.